So kind of touching back on the aspects of building a culture. So you had what I'm sure was a super exciting experience of starting at a new school when you moved to Green Valley. Can you talk a little bit about your experiences of being a teacher at a brand new school in what I'm sure in the Las Vegas area has probably a very unique demographic? What was the experience like starting a band program there and building up from the ground up?
So I was fortunate enough when I was hired to be hired as the arts department chair. So not only were we building a band program, but we wanted to build a whole arts department. And one of my real big goals was that we would all work together so that we would have projects throughout the year that we did with the choir person, with the orchestra person, with the theater department. And I mean, just to give you an example, we did a full live musical every year, you know what I mean? And everybody worked together on it. But you're right, it was exciting. I'm just going to say that year, the first year we opened Green Valley High School, was the hardest year of my career teaching-wise because you know, you're at a point in your life where you've had some success. And when I mean success, I mean you feel confident as a teacher on the podium. You know what you want as far as what direction you're going. But the students that come to you have come from all different places. And you have to convince, I always say, you know, the hardest thing is to convince a 16-year-old that they should go with you, you know, that they should follow your lead. And it was hard. It was really hard, but our school motto, just to really hammer this home, is commitment to excellence. So when I interviewed for the job, the principal that they had hired was a big jock. And I mean, I love him to death. He's still alive. And like, he was the starting quarterback at BYU and he was there, you know, I mean, it was just, you know, really, and he had been principal at a couple of schools. And the first thing I said to him was, you know, I've never seen you at anything. I've never seen you at band festival. I've never seen you at, you know, marching band contests. I've never seen you anywhere. I see you at football games all the time. And I said, if you really are serious about building an arts program, then I really think it's going to be really important that the administration buy in too. And I'm just going to tell you that in all my years at Green Valley High School, 26 years, I had principals at everything. So I think it's important to build a culture throughout the whole school. And, you know, honestly, let's just say, you know, there's that danger of band students at a school being like the school nerds or whatever, but they weren't. If you build a culture of where people really respect the program and are just like, wow, the band, are you from Green Valley High School? Hey, man, that band is really good. Or that choir, you know, they've sung at all these ACDAs and stuff. You know, our orchestra has played at Midwest twice or 3 times now. You know, I think you just need to make sure that it's not only about what you're doing in your classroom, but also that whole high school environment. I think the school environment is really important.
Absolutely. And I think building that, I love that you brought in, you know, building that connection and the communication with administration and always letting, because sometimes the administration might not know what's going on, because especially at larger high schools, you may not have direct connection with the head principal all the time. So always thinking about how do we get that information out? How do we, you know, even if it's once a week, just dropping by the front office and saying, hey, just wanted to let you know about this going on this week. And the same way with your community, because the more the community is aware of what you're doing and how you're doing it and the importance of what you're doing, the more they're going to be there and not just relying, especially for, for our band students and music educators, not just the marching band, but what are you doing to connect with the community outside of that? What are you doing to make sure that they know what's happening and invite them to come see you and get them on campus? I mean, it is a two-way street with that communication. And so I think that's also an important part of that. Those first years is figuring out how do we work as communicators and how clear are we? How can we communicate and how can we connect with not only our administration, but our community, our stakeholders, and maybe to some extent that broader community of other directors in the area, the region, the state, and continuing to have that conversation.
Because honestly, and Eric, I don't know if you were in this session. I did a session when I was on campus. It was all about relationships and all the relationships that we need to build. But honestly, if my band is good, whatever that means, and your band is not, that doesn't make my band better. So we have to be a community where we help each other to grow and to improve as a band community or as a music community, because honestly, it just can't be about competition. It's just, like here in Clark County, we used to be in each other's band rooms a lot. Like, hey, Diane, can you come by, have a night rehearsal, and just tell me what you think? Yeah, is that a bad thing for me to be at the neighboring school? No, it's a really great thing. And so building those relationships is important.
I think
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think as we all kind of touched on too, the magic of this community of music education, just music in general, is the fact it's such a small community where it's really easy to reach out to other people, regardless of where they are, and whether that's where they are in their life or where they are in the country. It's really easy to reach out to like these great educators and ask for, as you mentioned, to not be afraid to ask for help, because they're really easy to be able to reach out and ask for help. And I encourage that so much to all the listeners, to not be afraid to shoot an email to someone who you look up to in this community. And the worst thing that'll happen is you don't get a response, and on the other hand of that, you get a response and stuff, and you open up this gateway of communication just to a wealth of knowledge that you can continue to use.
So the ABA, the American Bandmasters, we're starting a mentorship program where you can reach out to members of ABA and say, could you listen to this? Or if somebody is within a certain amount of, distance, can you come and hear my band? And I think what we want to do is, we have so many members that are retired and that still love working with bands. And we want it to get out there. Now with this whole COVID-19, we're working on a project to help in that area. But we really hope to get that going by this fall, where there's a place on the ABA website where teachers can come and say, I live in Kansas, and who could I go to ask for some help? And there's several people in Kansas that would be willing to help. So we're trying to make that network more accessible.